Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Tonight we have a special program, as we have every Thursday, the series, but tonight we have a special program. We have a collaboration from the Manhattan Meditation Center and the Brahma Kumari's office to the UN, and we have a special program with special guests for all of you. It is a dialogue panel. Being the light in times of chaos, leading with love and courage, transformative women's leadership. And we will show first a short video, and then I hand over to Sister Sabita, who will lead the panel. So if we can see the video now, Anita. bear with us a few minutes.
Please turn on your... Okay.
Hello, friends. A very good afternoon to all of you, those here and those online. And I think there might be some on live stream also. Wherever you're joining from, we welcome you into this beautiful space where we as special citizens of this entire world gather together, whether in person or in thought and spirit, at this powerful venue, the United Nations headquarters in New York. Thousands of women are here for 2 weeks to talk about the status of women. And I'm remembering one of our friends said a few days ago, why we have to talk about the status of women? What is happening in our world that we have to meet to talk about the status of women? Do women need a status? And what is happening in our world that we have to talk about this? And so, and many other things came up over these 2 weeks. Some very inspiring words, some very uplifting words and phrases, powerful women, influential women we've met. Some were feeling a little not so hopeful that things could eventually change around and turn around and we see gender equality actually flourishing in front of our eyes. So it has been a 2 weeks with a lot of mixed feelings. This evening, we have in our gathering a number of influential people, which you all saw on the screen a few minutes ago, but 2 special ones that we particularly invited to share with us their stories, their insights, their experiences, and what I would like to do for all of us is, as we're going to listen to them, I would also like that each and every one of us take a look at ourselves too and kind of answer the question for yourself. So you're not just listening to what someone else is saying. Of course, we're doing that too. And to be inspired also, but also to take a few minutes here and there to check in with your own self and see how you would answer those questions if you were asked, or if you were in that situation, what you would do. And if you feel so inspired, you can write in the chat. And as you know, this is being recorded, so I hope this is okay with everyone. And we will look at your answers later on. Before I introduce our 2 special friends, there will also be a time for you to ask questions. So as you're listening and anything is crossing your mind and you want a little bit more clarity, which you feel didn't come through, please do write your question in the chat, and that definitely we will monitor and share with our 2 special friends. I'm not going to call them speakers. I'm not going to say this is a panel, right? This is a conversation among friends, among sisters and brothers. So first, I will introduce Marianne, who's on my far right. Marianne Lizana has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation for about 29 years. She is the coordinator for activities of the Brahma Kumaris in Costa Rica. She is a psychologist by profession and has specialized in the care of women victims of violence. In addition, she has been working with the United Nations and NGOs on human rights, sexual and reproductive health, and prevention of human trafficking. And as we know, these are very, very delicate, touchy areas. So recently, Marianne has been working on the prevention of human trafficking. So I'm sure this evening we're going to be hearing some very special, deep insights based upon her experiences in these different areas. And to my immediate right is another good friend of ours and dear sister. Her name is Linda Bilakasi. She's from South Africa, and she has extensive experience in community development, school leadership, project management, gender development work, among many others. Linda is the co-implementer of African Women in Dialogue platform, which seeks to contribute towards strengthening the continental African women's movement. As part of this organization, the team recently delivered a successful one-week dialogue attended by 1,267 women from all 55 African countries. So look the wealth of experience that we are having in this room, the richness already, and I'm all excited to hear more. So I'm going to say more about either of them. Yeah. They will share more about themselves as we go along, because we really want to hear, some deeper aspects about their stories. So welcome, Marianne and Linda, to our conversation. And to open up this floor, I will ask you to think of a time in your life when you found yourself a being of light in a challenging situation, where you brought encouragement and hope. Encouragement probably to yourself and hope to those involved. Think of that time when you yourself was a being of light in that challenging situation. What is that inner light? And how would you define it? I'll ask Marianne to share first when you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. When you were asking that question, it came to my mind when I started to work with girls that were victims of sexual exploitation, because I worked before that there was a law, because they thought that in Costa Rica it was kind of a paradise and it was not sexual exploitation. So we were the first organization to do that. And so people didn't really know how to approach the girls because they thought that they were none. And we started to go to different places, and they said in 5 years, you just have to find 300. And in 1 year, we already had 800. So it was a lot. But in that process, I was coming from working with women victims of violence. I wanted to change because it was too strong emotionally. So I went to do this. It was different. And what happened is that we, in that environment, we wanted them to feel protected, safe, but no one knew how to deal with them. The approaches they have, it was kind of take them out of the situation, but without acknowledging what they were feeling. And so that was not working. And because I have this practice of kind of giving myself time to connect with myself, in the team with which I was working, I told them, let's just do something different. And how can we just give a space for them, a safe space for them that they feel kind of allow themselves to be themselves? And we created that with all the conditions. It was very interesting because every one of us had like a very kind of systematic way to work, and that didn't work at all with them. We had to kind of start anew and to have a different vision of them. We not seeing their conditions and their vulnerabilities, but seeing them as they are really are. And what happened is that we created space. We didn't know what we were doing, just allowing them to have playing. And because I'm talking of girls of 10 years, 12 years, like 13 years. And just for you to imagine their conditions, we went to their places where they used to live. And one of them, I invited her to something and she couldn't attend. And I asked her, why you didn't attend? And she said, because I had to go to the butchery. But she was telling me that, and there was a butchery here. So I couldn't understand, but she was telling me that she was kind of a flesh and she was going to soul herself. So now, I had to kind of even be open to learn, just for you to understand the kind of environment. It was very hard, and to acknowledge that this little girl was doing that. It was hard for myself, and I wanted to protect her, but you have to acknowledge all what is behind that. And what happened is that after, like, we were very, very consistent, but our vision of themselves, of those souls, we wanted to keep them, my own vision of them, to keep it clear, to keep it transparent, to just seeing them as they are. And what happened is they started to trust ourselves. So after 6 sessions of just creating space, they together decided that they wanted to talk to us what is happening in their own lives. And we had to be prepared to listen to them, and they trust that we are going to protect themselves and their own choices, and not just taking them because we want them to be safe. So for me, it was being light is allow the other to live their process, but to create space for them to be what they really are. And, I felt that empowerment in that case was not imposing from my perspective what they have to do, but to allow a space to kind of interact and talk about rights in a way that they were able to grasp. It has to be in a new way. We were talking like that as sisters, for them to grasp that they have the options, in a very patiently way. So for me, that was something that taught me for the rest of my career, to do that in that way.
Wow. Beautiful. Can you believe these things happening in our world? But we have some lights. And creating that safe space, making them just feel safe without even saying anything or imposing anything. And that is what I'm capturing, is being the light. Just being there, listening, and just looking at them as a fellow human being who deserves that dignity also, and allowing them that space until they feel ready. Lovely. That's the light. Thank you, Maria. And Linda?
Sure. I've struggled to think of moments because I don't think I was ever conscious in my life that I'm doing this because of the light. But I realized that I've had a pattern of responding to the need. When something needs to be done, I jump in, I do it. I don't think first of who am I? This physical being is not what determines that, but I think it's connecting with the need and realizing that something needs to be done. At times I've stepped into things that I didn't even know how to do them, a little bit of resonance. But I think along the way and being able to pull others has really been able to take me there. My mother told me late in my life when I kept on always standing up for other people's rights, pushing back, especially for women, even as a girl, raising my voice, saying, I'm here, I can do that, or consider me too. She then tells me that when I was just over a year, I took long to walk, but I was talking from a very early age. You can all see. And so every morning I would crawl. I'm the third child. I had two brothers ahead of me. I would crawl out of the house, sit under the tree, greet everyone passing by, going to work, even coming back in the evening. I'll be there talking, chatting to everyone. And this one night, the neighbors, the husband, beat up the wife at night, and we could hear the sounds. And I think my parents talked about it. And in the morning, crawled out, sat there. The man from next door was passing Ubaba Kumalo, and he greets me like everybody, and I go, but why did you beat up your wife last night? And my parents cringe, and they say, since that day, there was never any sound of violence. So I bet I was fighting against gender violence just at the age of 1.
And that's the voice of innocence. Well.
Yeah, and that string of pulling me, it's a thread that I realized stayed throughout my life. Even when I got into university, it was just a shift from apartheid to democracy. Universities were segregated. Even at the most progressive university, we had separate student bodies. The white student body structure and the black one. And we were beginning to talk about being one. And we're in meetings, and I'm new at the university. It's my first year there. And we're in meetings, and I'm always talking my mind. And we talk about, but who's going to take the leadership? And I realized there's hesitation because probably obviously black students in the room, much as we are active, people are thinking, too soon for me. And I say, I'll do it. So as a result, I become the first woman, first black person to lead the student body at our major university. And when I look back, I realized that bravery, that step opened up a lot and became the light for many, many. I still meet people even as late as last month, a young girl whom I contacted for some services for the dialogue. After the phone, I walk into her house, she says, but I know you. I'm like, no, I'm here to get you to make our dialogue back. She's like, no, you are my leader at university. You gave me courage. So I think that has always been that. The jobs I've done, very few of them are applied, but I would be talking to someone and I say, I'll come do it. And then we get on. This last role of getting African women together, the founder called me and said, I have this idea where she's running other programs. And she said, but I've always wanted us to give to the continent and get African women to convene themselves and create space where we just come as African women without airs, without seniority, without demographics, even without origin, just because we are African women and we determine the agenda. And she just laid the vision. And from there on, we ran. We ran to a point where every time we deliver, she goes, this is beyond my expectation. I didn't know you'd do this. I didn't know you'd do that. And I think I'm just driven by that energy to want to do something. And when you see the unfolding energies of others, for me, that's the goal. I've been surprised by how people even get to do things that even I, thinking I'm initiating something, and they would work with me. Even in the team we have, there's 4 of us. We brought the youngest member of the 4 now. She came as a minute taker, but now she's leading the whole communication. I didn't even know, but she said to us, somebody must lead communication, and we just made it happen. So I think that notion of creating space and letting people be, for me, it's the best form of leadership we can ever give, and the best light we can give others, because we don't know what sits in people. And who are we to determine it and then box it and then subscribe to you can do tea and you can do woodwork, when the human being is such an amazing wealth of surprises and energies that all you need to do is to create the right energy. So the approach to the dialogue is just that we create the environment, we guide it by simple principles. It must be inclusive. You need to see people that look like you and don't look like you. You need to, there's no hierarchy. So there's no addressing of whatever title. We are all women and there's no seniority. So we treat each other that way. You arrive, there's no because you are Rona, your room is that one, because you are Marianne, that's your room. Any room is your room, any seat is anybody's seat. And you just marvel at watching women share their own strategies, their own lessons, because once they relax, they realize that it's me, it's nobody to tell me what I can do. And as I said previously, when they get back home again, we've been surprised by the projects they initiate from their own agency, unscripted, or even just their personal lives changing. Because we always say the change starts with you, but we also say you are here because you've been doing something. You wake up daily, you do something. So don't undermine that. Use that as your basis and you can layer on it. I mean, the last story that touched me was with a woman from Swaziland. Swaziland is very traditional. It's led by a chief. Women are second citizens. And when her husband died, her in-laws took all the inheritance. And she was down. So the woman who helped us bring women even from Swaziland told us that she invited her because she could see this woman is so down, so lonely. She said, listen, we have this trip to South Africa. They came, she enjoyed, or she participated where she did, and they went back. And she tells us a month later that, she got back, she found her voice. She went back to the in-laws and sat down and said, this is my inheritance. This is for my children. And I need it back. And she got it back because they were so shocked. They didn't even expect it. And she's like, you wouldn't know. And we said, who would have determined why we bring her so she can do what? But by being with other women, and I think the stories she heard from others, there's a lot of sharing, there's a lot of listening, and there's a lot of exploring for what could be done. And she went back and found her own solutions and found her voice. So it's been great to simply be, and I find it the most liberating state to just be.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So I would like us just to, we heard 2 beautiful pieces of experiences. Let's just take a few seconds quiet to assimilate what we just heard. Thank you. So, my friends, from what you shared, I am picking up that light, being the light in a challenging situation. How would you define that light? I'm picking up that it means just being myself, being true to that, not having to think, oh, I need to be a light. That's not going to help, right? I just need to be naturally my beautiful, true, loving self, and to see the other in the same way. That's how I am sensing what that light could be.
Yes.
And it happened, and then things just evolve and things just fall into place in a natural way.
I mean, there's a lot of hard work, a lot of doing. It sounds simple when we put it the way we do, but I think that first step, and I liked one of the quotes during the video play, where she said, impossible is but an attitude.
Yeah.
So the minute you don't see it as impossible, but you feel that it's got to be done, for me, it's the opening of that gate. The second bit is always to be conscious of what additional support and assistance you need and what others can bring. Not being complete in your own self,
Right.
but understanding and giving what you give. I'm struggling with the right words, but but I think it's hard, it's tough. Every time we do these jobs, you sit back, you're like, am I crazy? Why did I take it on? But something tends to carry that keeps on giving you the confidence. And I think for me, it's that sense of not seeing things as impossible.
Right.
If they need to be done, they can be done.
Yes. And why it's in front of us is because something can be done about it. That's why it's coming in front of me anyway.
That's why we have innovation.
Exactly.
Innovation, it's thinking that how best do I do it? Because it looks like it cannot be done, but you can still get to the other side.
And that's the light.
That's the light that takes you to the other side.
Wonderful. But having heard all of that, and this is an ongoing, I wouldn't say challenge, it's an ongoing journey because it's part of your life, right? So your life is evolving in these different areas. And this is going on, not 1 year, 2 years. This is an ongoing thing. Hopefully, these situations get resolved, right? Maybe sooner than later, and we don't have to be dealing with this. But amidst all these challenges, because today we're talking about being the light in chaos. And looking at our world today, it seems like the chaos is not getting any less. It's becoming more and more chaotic, which means the pressure is more on us. And it could be very easy for us to slip from being that gentle, powerful, beautiful light and within ourselves and wanting to help humanity. We can slip from that and feel maybe tired or hopeless or be questioned, like you just said, Linda, why am I doing this? Am I crazy? So what do you do to help sustain this spirit to keep you going, this light, to keep you firm, grounded? What do you do, Maria?
Yeah, I can share my latest experiences because I feel right now that I started to be how I want to be, because I feel that right now, even with all the work I do, recently I'm working with people that has been facing human trafficking, especially teenagers. So this has been 30 years of working in these areas. So, but this year, it's coming from the last year, I have been realizing that my practice of meditation has always been there to go inside. But these last months, I have realized that I have understood that I have to be at peace with myself. And that I was really always putting a lot of pressure on myself, subconsciously, because I normally, when I do meditation, I do like to be in peace. But I realized that feelings, to kind of clear the feelings, heal the feelings, to be in peace in my feelings is very important. And feelings are very deep things. And normally I was thinking that I was doing that right, because I was born in Chile, and we came to Costa Rica because of civil war, and my father was tortured, so we had to escape. And he always was kind of traumatized because of that, and so he used to talk about the people that did that in a very negative way, and I used to feel in that way for them. So I thought, in a way, that I was in some point in my journey, I forgave them. And I thought, no, I am not feeling as my father was feeling. I don't want to inherit that pain and that hate. And seeing things like the ones who are bad and the ones who are victims I want to go beyond that. But I realized that even then, it was just in my head. I liked the idea of forgiveness. And I liked the idea of going beyond, but I didn't really feel it until very recent, that I feel that I am in peace. And so I am realizing that I have to reconcile, for example, with death. I have to reconcile with everything that is painful. Everything that happened, I have to just create feelings that are more healthy. Because, for example, death is there and is part of our lives. Right. No, and I felt that I was resisting or kind of feeling bad about many things that I am aware that are happening too. So I have to have another approach. And now I really am feeling that my approach is more peaceful. And for example, even in meetings about these topics with many people, I used to feel very anxious and the idea that I have to do something, But from that anxiety or that stress state, even if it's a very good thing, but right now I'm feeling that I'm not in that mood. I feel that I'm more concentrated and focused on keep my feelings in peace. And I realize that whatever we feel, that is the vibration that we give. And so my vibrations I'm aware that are going to kind of help my own body, my own stage, but the atmosphere of the rest, and that can elevate the awareness. And just recently, small example, like I went to a very difficult area in Costa Rica. It's in the south, is in the border with Panama. So that there is a lot of trafficking of many things. And I went to one school. Again, they were the ones who have 10 years old in the school. And, there are problems there now with drugs. But I was very innocent of that. So I was doing something with them about prevention of for them to know what is that. And when I started, I just always start with a moment of my own introspection to connect, to feel at peace, and to allow, to connect with them in that level. That is my practice. It's incognito. They don't know, but I do that. And I feel that they feel it, because when I was there, I just stand and I just was starting to speak something. And one boy just say, hey, I want to tell you, I was the witness that I saw that one guy killed my cousin. I was not just saying anything about that, but I feel that they felt that they needed to speak. It was, I was trusted, I really appreciated that. So he started to speak, and then several of their kids just raised their hand and say, I want to tell you, me too. And each one of them, it was such a strong thing because of the drug drugs and the mafia that is there, there is a lot of violence. And they didn't have space, peaceful space to say it. And because, you know, the teachers and all of them have to do something, they have to do a report. If they hear the kids saying that, they have to do a report, and then the kids are afraid that because they spoke, they will. Right. But with me, they just needed someone kind of embrace them, and it's okay, it's okay, it's okay to be fearful, it's okay that you speak. And now we're going to work again, patiently, at their own rhythm, knowing the risks they are living in, and not just going into the law, you know, that because we have to protect them, we have to, you know, we have to really work in creating a different strategies because it's a reality that is difficult. But I felt that in me, I was able to listen and to not caught up in the same mode that before. I really feel too that this practice of connect with the one source of universal love or universal, I try to kind of do that once, twice, that this source of love that is there, the love for everyone, it's something that keeps me grounded. And it has helped me not to be burned out. Before I was burned out. But right now, I really feel that practice gives power. It's something that keeps me centered. And is the power of love. It's a power. I feel that it's not something small, you know, and I feel it that I connect, concentrating in that power.
This is beautiful, Marianne. The power of love. Our world is so, unfortunately, it is so lacking that love. And it's the love they're probably feeling from your being grounded in that love. And then feel the way they are feeling.
It's 5G.
Is silent?
No, we switched it off. Sorry.
All right. So let's take a couple of seconds just to absorb what we just heard Marianne shared. Thank you. I hope you're writing questions if you have any. And now I will turn to our friend Linda. What keeps you grounded?
It's quite a tough one because I mean, at this stage of my life, the early stage of my life, I never consciously thought of replenishing or serving me or grounding me. It was a matter of you're up, you're alive, you do what you need to do and you carry on. But I'm now finding that the kindness of others is my strongest power. It brings peace, it brings comfort, and adds to the courage and the confidence. And I'm surprised at how much it's easy for people to be kind. You talked about you're in this stage of chaos. Even if the world is where it is, there's still people with kindness. And once you can find that, or even treat people with love and trust, then you receive the kindness. And I find it to be the best for me, clutch of what can carry me forward. I mean, I recently discovered meditation. I'm still struggling with it because I didn't know what tool it is. But more and more, I like the philosophy of finding silence and peace within you. Because within you or me, there's chaos. The world can be in chaos. I have my own chaos. I have the million thoughts, the 20 things you do, the taking over so many things and trying to be there for almost everybody else, that it creates the chaos that never got silenced. And I've started to understand the use of the tool of meditation to find the peace, to even be silent. And I like the fact that it also encourages to work towards positive thoughts, even though they're negative thoughts. Because at first I battled with, you can't always have positive thoughts. Negative thoughts are there. Something happens. The human thinks, somebody does something, the first half seconds, it's a little bit of irritation from you. What do you do with it? That you can still work with that and work yourself from that negative thought to the positive thought. That's a tool I'm learning to use, and I'm loving it. And I find that it's always, I don't see challenge, I don't see it can be done, and I don't see bad most of the time. But I see an opportunity to say, there's something else we can do. If this doesn't work, if this person is like this, I tend to even rationalize a lot on their behalf. I think it's something in their lives. But in the past, it would be, what have I done or what could be done? So I'm loving the meditation tool, which is very neat for me because I also don't find it tying me to a particular philosophy. It's simply a tool that you can use, especially for insight. And that's the part I never thought can be given attention to.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. Because in meditation, whatever form of meditation anyone chooses to do, it grounds us, it brings us back again to our inner core, our principles, to the kindness, as you said, Linda, the love, as Marianne said, because it has to come from somewhere. Right? And I can't depend on it coming from the outside, even if it might be out there anyway. But the only place we can locate it, find it, access it, is from right within ourselves. And we do need some, a little bit of time out from all the busyness, even if we are busy doing good things, to check in, with that and realign again. Yes, it's a powerful tool indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we wish you all the best in exploring that some more.
Yes.
In the future, we hear more stories about how impactful that was for you or is. How is everyone doing online? Fine. Everybody online are doing okay? Okay. So I have one more thought or question for our friends here. Based upon all that they've shared, that really stirred us up, your life stories, and based upon why both of you are here in New York, is to talk about or discuss or explore more women's empowerment, women and girls empowerment. What would you suggest that we as women, and not forgetting our brothers or men, because we meaning men and women, need to do this together, but specifically for we women folks, what would you suggest we as women do in order to use our, I'm going to use the word Shakti, to use this inner feminine power, this inner strength that both of you shared, whether it's love, whether it's kindness, whether it's just listening for, whatever form of Shakti or inner strength that you are drawing upon. What would you suggest that we do how can we use this Shakti to bring about the social transformation that we're all looking for in these critical times? What would you suggest? How do we go about doing this? Linda?
I strongly believe we all have the feminine side of us, and it's that nurturing that we have. And it sounds like it's the easiest, but I find that the easiest is the most powerful. And we carry that almost naturally. We nurture us, we give, we care. But I think over time, we layer that and it gets crowded by the many experiences we go through and the many attempts of ways to resolve things that we attempt to do that tends to harden us. But if you step back and you rely more on the feminine bit of you, on the kindness, the nurturing bit of you, I think for me, that's where the greatest of our impact comes. And I would say to women in general that we carry that within us. So we don't have to go look for it anywhere. We don't have to be accorded it. Unfortunately, we live in a world that has indoctrinated us to think as second-class citizens, as less worthy, as not good, as weak. And it's a sad outcome, but it's an external outcome. And if we can transcend that and step back to the fact that we nurture us and we can be kind and we are able to give and to impact differently without those shackles of being put in boxes and stuff, I think women can be great leaders. Women have the ability to do so much, and we do it again in our simple lives, yet we don't package it as an amazing outcome. Everybody talks about a woman stretching a $1 to feed a family. Everybody talks about the woman walking on fire to protect her family, to give for her family. That's the doing that we do. It doesn't have to be walking on fire. It's the nurturing that we have and the fact that we can act in kindness. And imagine if all of us acted in that space, or if all of us created that space for others, that people can come through and be themselves without any dictation. I think that's the world we seek, and that's where women should be leading the world too from now onwards.
Wonderful. What? I agree. I think that's really we should be doing from now onwards. Yes. Wonderful.
Can I
And
build from
Marianne?
there?
Yes, of course.
Can I take from what Linda is saying? Because I feel that, and I feel that we are in a particular moment in the world that collective feminine power is needed. And I have been having a feeling, it's kind of a vision, that the new reality that has to come after this very difficult crisis is going to come from a collective feminine power. And I feel it like it's like when the mother has a baby in the womb, it not necessarily is thinking about the result of how the baby is going to be. Not only that, but it has to kind of create the space to nurture the new creature. It has to kind of have the patience to allow the growing and to allow something new to emerge. So what I'm feeling, and these days during the CSW, is that the power of being together. We are creating a collective awareness, and I feel it like it's an energy and level of energy. Right now, I feel that there is more spirituality even in that, even though there are so many things happening in the world and we need to acknowledge, but we need another stage of mind. We cannot act from fear anymore because the responses that come from fear are very limited. We need a high level of awareness, like thinking from a different level. And I feel that collectively we are creating that energy. And the spirituality is important to sustain that level, that stage of mind.
Right.
That is not, we have to go beyond fear. And so I feel that when we are together in that stage, we don't know what is going to emerge. Because for us, it's very easy to go into results and we want to do like this, or what is the plan now after the CSW, what we have to do. And maybe we don't know. We're creating a global network where we need to create that stage, high level stage, inner stage, for something new to emerge. The new creature collectively that is going to be created by all of us, going to come. We don't know how, but it's being nurtured.
Exactly.
And I do feel, because sometimes after 30 years of Beijing, many people feel very disappointed because we wanted more to happen, but I don't feel that nothing has happened. We are creating something, and right now it's okay. Maybe there are some struggles, but any woman, when it's going to be light of a new creature, is not easy at that moment. It's a little bit painful.
A little bit more. A little more to endure.
But the new thing, the new life is coming. So I feel that is maybe what we are creating.
Beautiful. Indeed beautiful. Because that trust, that level of trust, and we cannot afford to allow that that energy, that high vibration of spiritual to drop. Otherwise, the 30 years would have gone lost. So we have to just trust and be patient, knowing that something beautiful will emerge. You wanted to say something, Linda? Because I think we have to wrap up this.
I just want to add that part of why we are driving this movement that we're building, it's a realization also that we've also naturally we have so many organizations that lead us, that try to move us forward, but we tend to have forgotten the power of the community and the collective that is not structured in an organizational way. So we're very clear that with the movement, you come in willingly to be in the movement, and there's no hierarchy and there's no leadership accorded, but you join because there's a cause that attracts you, and by participating and taking action in that cause, that's your leadership.
Right.
And isn't that how we exist anyway? Because in a community, when we see a strife or something wrong, what do? Women would either start saying, we need to come together, there's famine, or we have this affecting our crops or our lives, what can be done? And that becomes the cause. So the notion of us pushing for the movement is that women come as women in their being, and they unleash the power they have within them without being prescribed or ascribed to levels and layers. And that's the growth of the nurturing baby that we are trying to grow, that we believe that the African continent will be better off led by women from the ground up and at all levels, and naturally by what each one can do and the capabilities that they have. And that's the message we're beginning to share, to say, in the world, let's not wait for the CSW to call us. Let's call ourselves in our own spaces and get going, so that when we come to these levels, we also come to share who we are, but not to be told who we are and what to think and what to do.
Good. You stand on your own ground.
Yes.
Wonderful. As the Shaktis, as the powers. So just before I say thank you to our special friends here, I would just like to make this quote from the Gita that says, action is your duty. Reward is not your concern. Meaning, we have to do what has to be done now. And the result is inevitable, because the result cannot happen anyway if we don't do the action now. So we have to keep doing it, and we just have to trust and have the faith that the reward is going to come. We just might not know when, how, and what color or shape, but it is definitely going to be there. So thank you so much, Linda and Marianne. And I hope you all, and wherever you are, you've enjoyed this. Now I hand over to...
Yes.
As there are no questions, I see no questions in the chat. You still have an opportunity if you want to put something in the chat. But meanwhile, I'll hand over to Patiba to wrap up.
Who is going to make some closing remarks, and then we will have meditation.
This has been such a rich and insightful conversation, and I think it's from the heart, which really sits well and makes it very authentic. There's a lot to share, but I think a theme that came up for me as I was listening to is that so much of how we can offer each other and for the people we want to serve is about creating the right space, creating a safe environment, creating the right space, giving a listening ear, because people have their own solutions and people will find their strength to do what's needed to be done to make things better. But sometimes all that's needed is that kind of a space where they can feel heard, but I think many times it's about feeling valued as a human being and help them to feel connected to their own dignity. And from that emerges a lot of clarity and a lot of power. So the light is ignited when you give people that space to find their own value in themselves. So that has been a lovely element that came through. And also, I think what you highlighted was also a very important element, Marianne, that in order for us to create that space that is enabling for others, how important it is to clean our own hearts. And that takes inner work. I can only be present for another when I'm cleaning myself. And so doing that work of cleaning up my own heart and making sure I've reconciled my feelings and that I'm not sitting with hurt inside, then that makes me available and accessible and present for the other so that they can feel safe in my space and can become the trigger for their own healing to do. And that's the best gift we can give to anyone, is to be present and allow them to take that agency in terms of their own healing and journey within. And I think this was so beautiful, Linda, when you said kindness. And kindness is so easy to do. But that kindness, of others, how it serves us, but also that when I treat another with kindness, with love and trust, that kindness comes back to me. And it's and to know that it's very natural that we carry this capacity in us. It's not something that we have to train for, and especially as women, that we do have this natural capacity to nurture, but also recognizing that we've been conditioned to think of our nurturing capacity as a weakness. And so we've allowed things to layer over us, and so I really appreciated this fact of just how we need to recognize that our gentleness, our humility, our nurturing capacity, those are our strengths, and that's our power. And nurturing ourselves through connection with that higher source, giving ourselves that space of quietness and meditation or whatever, is so that truth of who we are stays awake and is given permission to shine. So those were some lovely elements that we took through. And finally, that yes, the transformation we seek is a transformation that each one of us collectively is co-creating. It's not one of us, but all of us together. So I think the more conversations we have like this, and the more that we engage with each other like this, the more we remind each other of this, the more we create a space for each other like this, is what's going to slowly build that being. I won't call it a creature, but that powerful, positive energy being that we're going to collectively give birth. Okay, thank you. So I think that brings us to a lovely point to now just take us into a meditative space. Rona.
One of the beautiful things that spirituality and meditation offers us is the realization that our external world begins with our internal world. And what we offer the external world is what we have emerged and nurtured within ourselves. And such beautiful examples of that inner power being manifested through actions, through conscious choices, and bringing that as a benefit for others, to help them also emerge their beauty, their greatness, their truth. And so meditation is about remembering the truth and the beauty and the greatness that is there within each being. To acknowledge that for the self. The more you acknowledge that and experience that, you will also start seeing that invisible beauty and truth in others. And so right here, right now, as if shift the attention away from the external, from the actions and the achievements and the outer world, and become aware of yourself as this invisible being of consciousness. A being who is timeless, innately pure. Connect to that essence. Of who you innately are. Peaceful, timeless, living light. And just allow yourself to grasp this. We are always so externally oriented. Let us come back to the essence and the power and the goodness that is within each one of us. We are all children of that one divine, And just fill the mind with this awareness of being a being of light. Pure and free. Innately loving, playful, there is power in goodness, and there is power in allowing this authentic self to be and emerge. This is what we need. This is what the world needs. And so as we continue our journey through the world of sound and action and interaction, never forget to live from the inside out. Instead of allowing the outside to define our inside. Be the light and ignite many other lights. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you all, for those of you online, for joining us. I'm sure you've really appreciated this beautiful conversation. I know that I've really appreciated it, and it's given us a lot to think about of how we as individuals want to be that light in the world and lead from that light. I know, I'm hoping that we have a blessing for everyone. I think that, did you?
No, I did not.
Sabita is going to read it to you. It's a beautiful blessing that we were going to share with everyone. So Sabita will share it with us all now as our gift. Or I can, yeah. So this is a beautiful feminine quality here. By understanding your true nature of peace, you have the courage to uphold your highest values in a world of conflict.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Om Shanti and goodbye from the UN office. The Brahma Kumara's UN office here on the east side. And thank you so much for the Manhattan Center on the west side of New York for being with us and partnering with us this evening.
Very nice.
And Marianne, of course, coming from Costa Rica,
Yes.
Linda from South Africa,
And Tiva from South Africa. So, yeah. Thank you.
Have a beautiful evening.
Yes.
Thank
Om
you.
Shanti. Bye-bye.